What is up, guys? It is Marcus from Perspective Sports, and today we're going to be talking about some of the deals that have gone down in the NBA and how I think some teams have already gotten massively better before the draft, which is tonight. And I think that could be very interesting because teams are trying to move up into that early lottery because it's not a deep draft, really. It's pretty top heavy, and I think teams know that, and they're trying to get into that early lottery, early round picks. Now teams have resources that are trying to move up. There's teams trying to get the resources to move up, and so it could be a very interesting night. Or it could just be like nothing happens and we're just watching the draft. Either way, the draft is tonight. And so let's talk about some of the deals that have gone down in the NBA already that I think have gotten teams much better. And we're going to start with the Phoenix Suns, who brought in Chris Paul. And the deal was like this. The Thunder will receive Ricky Rubio, Kelly Oubre, Ty Jerome, Jalen LeCue, and a 2022 first-round pick from the Suns in exchange for Chris Paul and Abdul Nader. And I really like this move for the Suns. I do. I'm going to be honest. I like this move for the Suns, and I like this move for the Thunder. But let's talk about the Suns first, who got Chris Paul. Now they pair Chris Paul with Devin Booker, and that is arguably a top 5 duo in the league, and a lot of people are excited about that. But I'm really excited about the pick-and-roll potential between Chris Paul and DeAndre Ayton. That alone will command attention of defenses because you have to respect it. Chris Paul is very crafty coming out of the pick and roll. He can make plays out of the pick and roll. He shines in the pick and roll. And so when teams are focusing their attention on that, it's going to leave Devin Booker a lot more opportunities to get clean looks at the basket and get better overall looking opportunities. Because over the last couple of years, it's been Devin Booker making it happen. Now he has somebody at the point guard position, so he doesn't have to be ball dominant. He can now play off ball. He can move off ball. He can get open. He can get off some off ball screens. And so I really like the potential here with Chris Paul, DeAndre Ayton, and Devin Booker because Devin Booker and DeAndre Ayton can also play in the pick and roll and have Chris Paul go off ball and try to make some plays off ball. And so I really like this move for the Thunder. I think Chris Paul is now going to be the veteran leadership that this team has really lacked because they've been super young. They never really had that veteran presence that's playing, that star veteran presence, and now they have that. As for the Thunder, they get Kelly Oubre, nice young talent. He's probably going to be there a little bit as their forward. I think he's a starter in this league. I think he's going to be a pretty efficient starter. They also get Ricky Rubio, and they get a first-round pick. And that is the story of the Oklahoma City Thunder. They now have 16 first-round picks over the next 6 seasons. We haven't seen a team stack up on picks like this since Danny Ainge did it for the Boston Celtics because, number one, it's hard to do. But they're making it happen. And Sam Presti, can we give him his credit? He is probably the best at getting the maximum value for his star players. We've seen him trade Russell Westbrook, Paul George, Chris Paul, just to name a few. We've seen him get the most you can possibly get for your players every single time. And giving a GM like Sam Presti, 16 first-round picks, a guy who drafts extremely well, Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, James Harden, Serge Ibaka, Steven Adams. I mean, this guy drafts extremely well. Giving him 16 first-round picks to a guy that drafts, number one, excellent in the early rounds and very good on the back half of the draft. Giving a guy like that 16 first-round picks, he's going to find some talented players. And when he finds some talented players, he's going to have enough picks left over that when the time is right, he could package those picks and bring in an established star. So I really like the potential that Oklahoma City has right now. I think Sam Presti is going to make this team into something really good. Because, number one, he has the resources. Number two, he knows how to draft. And number three, he knows how to make a deal. And the Thunder didn't stop there. They also made a deal with the Los Angeles Lakers to send Dennis Schroeder to the Los Angeles Lakers in exchange for Danny Green in the 28th overall pick. So that's another first-round pick for them. Then we have the Milwaukee Bucks, who threw an absolute Hail Mary. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. Hail Marys aren't inherently bad things. Hail Marys are acts of desperation. And I think that's what this was. When you look over the past couple of months, there's rumors going around that Giannis would like to play elsewhere. He is unhappy with the Bucks, who are perennial underachievers. Yes, they're regular season warriors. I mean, they're real tough to beat in the regular season, and then you get to the playoffs and they get bounced fairly easily. And so I can understand Giannis' frustration. I mean, the Bucks didn't necessarily space the floor that well. He doesn't help that problem, but it's a problem nonetheless, and he's the superstar. And so when you look over the past, teams have built around superstars who can't shoot or not the best at shooting. I don't want to say he can't, but he's not the best at shooting. And so the Bucks have pretty much failed to do that over the past couple of years, and so they went out and got Drew Holiday and paid the price for it. The price was fairly high. I mean, the Bucks got Drew Holiday in exchange for Eric Bledsoe, George Hill, the 24th overall pick in this year's draft, a 2025 first-round pick unprotected, and a 2027 first-round pick unprotected. And they traded the right to swap their picks in years 2024 and 2026. And so that's a price to pay. That is a serious price to pay. And I see people saying like, oh, the Pelicans robbed them. This is thievery. But not really. I mean, the asking price for Drew Bledsoe is high. I mean, Drew Bledsoe is one of those players that you don't hear talked about a lot, but the league knows about him. I mean, he's one of the best two-way players in the league. He can knock down shots. He can play defense. He can do pretty much everything on the floor. And so when you have a player like that hit the market, teams are going to be interested. There's rumors that the Celtics were trying to trade Kemba to acquire the assets to then trade for Drew Holiday. This is a team with 3 first-round picks in this year's draft, looking to trade a player like Kemba Walker to acquire the assets to acquire Drew Holiday. That's what they're going against. The Warriors had the 2nd overall pick. They were interested. This is the kind of teams that the Bucks were going against for Drew Holiday. And so the price they paid wasn't really that high of a price. I mean, if Drew Bledsoe's on the team, if Drew Holiday, because get it, Drew Holiday and Eric Bledsoe, Drew Bledsoe, Patriots quarterback. But if you have Drew Holiday on the team, you don't really need Eric Bledsoe. You don't really need George Hill, who didn't do much for you last year anyway. The price you pay is those 4 draft picks that you're trading in the future. They essentially traded away 4 years worth of draft picks. And they have the 24th overall pick this year. That was the Pacers. So, I mean, whatever. So they paid a steep price in terms of draft capital for Drew Holiday, and I think it was worth it. I'm going to be honest. I think it was worth it. But the Buck didn't stop there. You see what I did there? Buck didn't stop there. They didn't stop there. The Bucks also agreed to a sign-in trade, or in principle to a sign-in trade, with the Sacramento Kings for forward Bogdan Bogdanovic. And I think that's a really good move. And the deal looks like this. The Kings will receive DJ Wilson, Dante DiVincenzo, and Ersan Ilyasova in exchange for Bogdan Bogdanovic and Justin Jefferson. And this is another excellent move by John Horst. Excellent. W. Great job. I'm really impressed with what the Bucks have done so far in this early offseason. Again, before the draft that's tonight and before free agency. I think this team is already significantly better than they were last year. I think they're a lot more versatile than they were last year. I think now teams have to respect their ability to knock down jump shots more than they did last year. I overall like the direction that the Milwaukee Bucks are heading in with these moves that they've made so far this offseason. And if you're Giannis, don't you have to be happy too? They showed that they're willing to mortgage some of their future for now, trying to win now, trying to accommodate you now. And so if you're Giannis and you're looking around, you see Bogdanovic walking through the door, Drew Holiday walking through the door. You see the front office getting aggressive, trying to bring in talent to help you. You got to like it, right? Then we have the Portland Trail Blazers that made a very good move, in my opinion, bringing in Robert Covington from the Houston Rockets in exchange for Trevor Ariza, the 16th overall pick, and a 2021 first-round pick protected. And so Robert Covington is one of those players that you bring in when you're at the point of contention or you're contending and you need that boost. He's a 3-and-D player, and in today's game, that's probably one of the most valuable things that you can have. And so when you look over the history of his career, he's kind of been traded to teams that are in that position. And Portland needs defense. They're not one of the teams known for their ability to play defense. And Robert Covington doesn't solve that problem, but he definitely helps out. So I like the move for Portland. I've been saying I like all these trades. I mean, I think the trades have been pretty decent lately. But I do like these trades. I like what these teams are doing on both sides. And so I like the move for Portland. If you're Houston, and this is where we get off the trade talk and into the rumors of the trade talk, if you trade James Harden and Russell Westbrook and don't look like the Oklahoma City Thunder, or better, you should look better, you failed tremendously. You've done your fans a great disservice, and you've shot your organization in the foot. There should be no rush to trade James Harden. I saw reports that the Rockets are willing to get awkward and have these players show up for training camp. I'm with that too. I think it's a great idea. Unless you can get what you feel that these players are worth, don't trade him. Harden's contract doesn't expire until 2023. Reports came out that he declined an extension that would pay him over $50 million a year. If that doesn't say I don't want to be here, I don't know what does. But don't let that force you into a bad move. Harden wants to play in Brooklyn. That's cool. Well, let's see Brooklyn's best offer, and let's see what everybody else offers, because I think there are teams that can beat Brooklyn's offer fairly easily. Top of mind, Boston, Philly, Golden State. I don't think Golden State necessarily wants him, but Golden State could beat it. There's plenty of teams out there that could probably top the Nets' best offer, and so you don't have to trade him there. His contract doesn't expire until 2023. Again, like we said that earlier. But if you're Harden, I wouldn't want to be there either. The window is obviously closed. I mean, Daryl Morey's gone, Mike D'Antoni's gone. The roster is an absolute mess. I mean, who wants to be there? I wouldn't want to be there. And so I understand James Harden saying, you know what, I'm throwing in the towel. Send me somewhere else. So that makes sense. As far as Russell Westbrook, you're not going to get as much as you can get for James Harden for Russell Westbrook, but you can get a decent haul. And I think Westbrook might be traded first. I mean, if you look, there's the Knicks rumors heating up. Why anyone would want to play for the Knicks is far beyond me. I can go on a rant about how the Knicks are the most overrated franchise in North American history. If you want that video, just comment down below. But Russell Westbrook to the Knicks, it makes sense. I mean, they're offering the 8th overall pick, some future picks, Kevin Knox, R.J. Barrett. I mean, that kind of package, that would be tough to turn down for the Houston Rockets for Russell Westbrook, because you're getting decent young players and you're getting a decent amount of picks. And Russell Westbrook necessarily isn't walking into anything special in New York where they're going to be winning football games. I mean, I am all over the place. I'm working on an NFL video if you can't tell. Where they're going to be winning basketball games anytime soon. And so I think that would be a decent haul for the Houston Rockets. As for James Harden, I think you should get a lot for him. You should get a lot, and make sure you do. And then we're going to end the video off with the Boston Celtics, who rumored to be trying to trade Kemba Walker. I was telling my friend pretty much towards the end of the playoffs that I don't think Kemba necessarily fits Boston's system. Jrue Holiday would have been an excellent pickup for Boston. He fits right in. I mean, his defensive ability, his offensive ability goes right alongside Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, and what the system is in Boston. The defensive focused system in Boston is the team basketball. I think that Jrue Holiday would have been a perfect fit for the Celtics, and so I can understand why they were trying to acquire the assets necessary to move for Jrue Holiday. The rumors going around that Gordon Hayward is on the market and that the Atlanta Hawks are interested. Maybe Boston could be trying to bring in Clint Capella. They do need a big man. I mean, if the playoffs showed one thing, the Celtics need a center. And so maybe they're trying to agree to some sort of deal to send Gordon Hayward down there for Clint Capella and some more resources in return, because I think Gordon Hayward is probably the more valuable asset in that deal. So things should be interesting tonight in the draft. Things should be, because Boston doesn't have a lot of space on their roster, and they have 3 first-round picks. There's not enough space for 3 first-round picks on this roster. And so they might have to get creative today. People don't want to trade with Danny Ainge, and I think Sam Presti might start getting the same treatment pretty soon. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like, comment, and subscribe if you did. See you next time.